This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Hot Mic, ready to rock and roll here on this Tuesday morning. We mentioned the North Dakota High School football playoffs resume this weekend for Class A and 9-man, and Double A and Triple A they begin. Double A, this is the field of 8, where Minot North is the number 1 seed out of the West. In their first year of varsity football, they'll host Devils Lake coming up on Friday night. The winner of that will play the winner of the Jamestown and Horace game. Game will be broadcasting coming up on Friday. We'll give you all the details on that coming up later on in the week. Wahpeton Valley City on the other side of the bracket with St. Mary's and Red River. What a year it's been for the Sentinels out of Minot North. Our pleasure to welcome back Jacob Holmen, the head coach of Minot North, who they win 7 football games in their varsity debut. We were chatting earlier this year of just about expectation-wise. I mean, even your wildest dreams, 7-2, you couldn't have thought that, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good start to a program. After our game on Friday, I was walking out of the locker room. We went and took a team picture, and I was walking next to our defense coordinator, Zach Rudolph, and I said, how many people do you think thought like we could do this? And he looked at me and he said, we did.
Wow.
So we know our kids. We knew that we had a chance. I don't know if we expected to win the West. After our St. Mary's game, I think my head was just, we got to try to make the playoffs. That was a tough loss at home, and our kids have responded really well after that time. And you look back and think maybe losing is a good thing at times, just because it gives you a little spark that you need.
So you were 3-2. You lost in double overtime at that moment. What was there anything noticeably changed about your football team?
I think we've matured as the years gone on. Playing varsity football is way different than playing JV football. So our kids I guess they started to understand that your preparation is so important if you want to go win football games. At any level, winning is hard. So the next week we went and played Watford City, and with what Coach Dooley does, you have to be cued in on what they're doing offensively because their system's so funny. So that the fact that we got to play Watford City the next week helped us a lot because we had to prepare for something that was different and unique. And since then, it's we've been able to springboard off of that.
What describe confidence-wise where the guys are at? They got to be through the roof right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of confidence, but at the same time, there's a belief that we still have to prepare for every opponent that we're playing and have a good focus as we go through stuff. But yeah, they're growing as not just football players, but just as young men.
I mean, I know this year we're going to have fun. We're going to develop. We're going to see what happens. You got to be having just a blast on this. We're having success. The guys are developing, and we're having fun. This is just, you got to be over the moon here.
Yeah, things have gone really well, and we're very fortunate to have kids who have bought into our system. We have a great coaching staff that's really bought into what we're trying to do. Our plan on offense is working. At the beginning of this whole process of building a program, we said we want to be a downhill physical football team, and that's what we're seeing happen on the football field. We can still get a lot better at it. And then defensively, we run a very complex system with what Coach Rudolph offers, and our kids are learning a lot of football. So yeah, it's been a blast.
You got to give us the download on Christian Dedman and what kind of player he is. Because every time I see highlights, he's making some kind of play for your team. What kind of player is he, and how has he changed your team?
Yeah, he doesn't look like your normal running back. He's long and lanky. He's about 6'3", but he's really difficult to tackle and bring to the ground. Kind of slippery. But he had a really good summer this past year. It was really the first summer where he got into the weight room and changed his body a little bit. So we're seeing that pay off on the field. And yeah, when he touches the ball, you never know what can happen. And again, it's a credit to our kids up front that are blogging for him, and he'll tell you that as well.
You know, you mentioned last time you were on, or maybe even during fall camp, we chatted about that you have some seniors on your team. Has that mattered, their experience? Has that been a noticeable quantity that you felt it's impacted the team as the year's gone along?
I think it helps. Obviously, we have 4 seniors on our team. One of them played football last year. The other 3 did not. So the kid who played last year was on Minot High state championship team. So he's seen a high level of ball.
Yeah.
And he stepped in and he's started at corner for us and been really, really solid. So just the way that he plays the game, I think kids have watched that and seen, okay, that's what it takes. A lot of our juniors are our vocal leaders just because they've been around a lot. But yeah, our seniors having bigger bodies and some older kids with good maturity definitely has helped us.
We mentioned off the top here, Jacob, you got Devils Lake. That's a team you did not see during the regular season. How much of the unknown is not necessarily scary, but like, okay, this is a team we didn't see that we have to scout up for now for Friday night?
Yeah, it makes this week a little bit more work, but that's what we've done all season too, because we haven't seen these teams. I know I mentioned to you that we scouted some teams over the offseason, but we looked a little bit at Devil's Lake, but didn't dive deep into them. So it's been fun just to learn about them and what they want to do and try to game plan against that.
We're watching your game from against Valley City from last week. That the home environment it looks like people have bought in, invested in that. What does that become now for a home environment at your place?
Yeah, it's really special. We have a lot of students that are all in on Minot North. You walk around our halls and you see Minot North gear everywhere. So they're buying into not just the culture of what we're trying to do on a football field, but our school in general. And then the community is really, really excited about having two schools. And it helps when both schools are winning and have the one seed. And
I was going to say
the challenge is we're competing with each other for fans too, because we've played at home the same nights all year, and it happens again this week. But we take who we can get at our games.
I'll get the AD on the phone. I know him. We can make sure we get scheduling fixed out for next year. Although I guess Minot's playing at 6 on Friday, so they could start there and then come see you guys, right?
Yep, that's right.
The excitement level about that, how much is that, I guess, carried the guys as well? They're walking around school. This is a new thing, and we're winning. Have you noticed that carry over from school into practice?
For sure. Yeah, people care about varsity football way more than they care about JV football. So our kids last year going to school, and they were going to Minot High, there probably weren't a lot of people who were Sentinel fans walking around the halls. So this year, our teachers and our staff at school have been really invested in them and encouraged them, and they come support us. People from the community are aware of what's going on, and we just have really good kids too, so they're easy to root for.
This whole of AA, you got a sense of it now going around. When did you get a sense like, you know what, we can compete? We're here. Was it that same? Even I know St. Mary's was playing up. That when did you get a sense that okay, we're in, we can do this?
Yeah, I mean, we were in the St. Mary's game. It was a competitive game. We didn't feel very good after the game. Obviously, there were things that we could fix, but I would say maybe we played well when we played Wofford City, but when we played Dickinson at home and when we got them by a decent amount, we have a lot of respect for Dickinson's program, and they're well established in what they do. So I think that's kind of where we thought, okay, this could be going in a good direction. And then going on the road and beating Jamestown, who's always very good. And we respect Coach Nelson's team a lot. That provided some extra energy.
You get a sense now with this that this can carry over next year. You get even more people to come out. Is that word of mouth? You're winning, having fun, that this can have more kids say, you know what, I want to go play football next year?
Yeah, I think so. I think winning obviously helps. We tell people all the time we want playing Minot North football to be one of the best experiences that our kids get to have in their lives. And again, winning helps add to that. But there's so many things going on with our booster club, our community, where people see that playing football is a big deal. And there are kids that have mentioned, oh, I wish I would have played this year. Yeah. And they're more than welcome to play next year. And hopefully we can add to our numbers.
You're averaging 31 a game. I mean, what surprised you about maybe offensively or even defensively that, boy, we weren't counting on this heading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, we've run the ball. I mean, I do our stats every week on Saturdays. Last week we ran for 373 yards, which that doesn't happen a lot in high school football. We maybe need to throw the ball a little bit more at times, but that's the offensive line coach in me wants to run behind our guys. But to be able to score that many points and do it with a run dominant football team, pretty big deal. We can make big plays when we need to. And then our defense has flipped a gear here the last couple games where they're flying around, they're making tackles. Coach has a really good game plan that they're in this classroom all the time, just learning what our plan is for the week and learning football at a much deeper level than what I would have learned as a high school kid.
So now it's postseason, it's win or be done. How is that? Was that message already echoed on yesterday's practice, especially with a young group, that, okay, there's no more room for error here. We have to win or we're done?
Yeah, we're focusing a ton on our preparation. Last week we had good prep, but I think we lost some focus at times, and you saw it in the game on Friday where we were up by 3 scores and Valley City trimmed it down to a 1-score game, and we responded very well. But yeah, the focus of being able to sustain it for an entire practice carries over to sustaining it for an entire game. And if you want to win playoff football games, you have to be able to stay focused for the whole game and not have any mental lapses.
How have you heard from your colleagues around the other football coaches about what job you've done? Is this carry? I know everybody's in their own submarine, worried about their own team, but have you heard from your fellow coaches about this season?
Yeah, they've been very complimentary of what we've been able to do. Um, I mean, you think about some of the teams like Horace's coach talked to me after our game, and he was in the same boat a couple of years ago. They took it to us when we played them in week 3 or whatever it was. But he just said, keep going. We like the physicality of your team. You're in the right direction. So that was encouraging. And other coaches have mentioned some things too. Having some young guys on the field is always a challenge. So our kids have responded very well to that. And other coaches have taken notice of them.
I got an email to ask you about your mix. Like, how many juniors, how many sophomores do you regularly play?
I was thinking about that the other day. Actually, I think we start 3 sophomores on each side of the ball. 8 juniors on offense, and then 7 juniors on defense, and 1 senior. So we're young. I mean, we have a lot of juniors that are playing.
Yep.
Our sophomore class is actually kind of small, but we have some very good players in that group. So there's a good mix.
It's got to make you smile. Like, okay, those guys I'm going to have for another year or two. That we're going to be okay if we can keep this train rolling.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do too after this year of just continuing to develop kids. I mean, that's the goal of a coach is you want to develop your program from the bottom up. And what's been special is we've been able to take these junior kids, especially, and have them for 3 years. Or I've thought about what are we going to do when those kids are gone? Because that's all that we know with those kids. We've coached those kids for 3 years, so yeah, we gotta keep developing kids.
I was going to say we've talked. Heck, last year I remember when things were just getting started. How personal is this for you? Because you mentioned you've known these kids for a handful of years now. To do this and to start this first playoff run, how special is this for you?
Yeah, I don't know if like words can even describe that. We care about our kids a lot, and we've gotten to know them at a really deep level. You get to do that in the game of football. Football's hard. So you see raw emotions come out from coaches, from players, all that stuff, and you grow closer together because of it. But yeah, to be able to start a group and hopefully go finish with them and finish on a high note, we're hoping. Yeah, tremendously special. And the people that you do it with, that's what's important about it. You can win as many games as you want, but it's the people that you remember.
How much is your dad enjoying this run with you?
Oh, he's having a blast. I don't think we could do this without him, to be honest with you, just because his wisdom in the game of football and just being a head coach for so many years. I went out to eat with him last night and I said, I've learned that being a head varsity football coach is just a state of exhaustion the whole year. And he just laughed at me because he knows it very well. But yeah, to have him and then our other coaches, Coach Rudolph's in the same boat. He's been a head coach. So having him, my dad and Coach Rudolph and our other young coaches has been awesome.
What is the most tiring aspect then, in your opinion?
I think you just never stop thinking about football. You go home at night, and like last night, I sat in front of my TV. I turned on Monday Night Football, and I did football. I planned practice. We tell our kids we got to prepare, and that starts with us as coaches, and we understand that you have to be prepared to come to practice and put them in the right situations to be successful. And if you want to win, you got to do it.
When can you turn it off? You can't like the brain. Like, okay, I've done. Like, is it Thursday night? Like, okay, we're done preparing. There's no more. I can't prepare anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever shuts off fully, but maybe once the season's done, it'll shut off.
Yeah. Well, I hope for you guys'
I don't know about that even.
Yeah, right? This keeps going. I hope for your guys' sake it keeps going for a bit. Thanks for the time this morning. Congrats on a great year, and good luck Friday night with Devil's Lake, okay?
Thank you very much, Dom.
Good to see you. Jacob Holmen, head coach at Minot North. The Sentinels are 7-2. As I mentioned, the top seed out of the WDA. Eric, throw that bracket up when you have a second again. These are the 8 teams that made it. And we've mentioned quite a bit about AA football and the fluctuating teams in it. Obviously, this was Fargo North's domain for the last couple of years, and they moved up. And I know they had a rough year. And Fargo South stayed in AA. They did not have a good season this year. Red River had a dynamite year. Heck, Central made it all the way to the championship last year. They did not have a very good season. So I get it. I understand the complaints certainly I got from the north side because I've long been an advocate that the Fargo schools and I believe the Grand Forks schools should play in the top division. St. Mary's was in that top division. They moved back down this season. See, Valley City and Wapanen have had their track record in football over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been not good. I'll just say it hasn't been great. That they're in the right they're in the right class. But I firmly believe you see two teams there. You see Minot North and West Fargo Horace. In 2 years' time, they're going to be up with the big boys. That's just the way population is going. And I know folks in Jamestown are thrilled with me that Jamestown, if you play soccer, if you play hockey, you're a big school. It's kind of always been my thought on that, which gotten, I know, people riled up about it, but football classes is one of those things that just is going to always be a hot topic, especially in the state of North Dakota, with the fluctuating rules that surround it. But those are 8 pretty good teams, and I can't wait to see what happens. All those games come up Friday night. Minot North and Devils Lake will play at 7. We mentioned we're going to televise that Horace and Jamestown game coming up on Friday night at 6 o'clock, part of a huge night of high school football, which we'll detail coming up in just a few minutes. We'll break now. Hot Mike continues. Steve Lockway coming up in about 15 minutes. Chat about the Dragon win over Southwest State. Look ahead to the matchup with Minot State. Back on this Tuesday morning after this.